Joining me now are three of the country's best political analysts. We have John Fund of the Wall Street Journal, syndicated columnist and CNN contributor Miguel Perez. And Miguel is also a journalism professor at Lehman College in New York, and Democratic strategist and CNN contributor Robert Zimmerman. Gentlemen, thanks for being with me. You know, we have this very, very tough act that's going on Capitol Hill about the auto industry and the bailout. Robert, what are your thoughts on this? This is not an easy situation.
Look, this is a disgrace, primarily because it's the arrogance of the automotive industry that has brought this crisis really upon us. You know, 2 years ago, their idea of an incentive was to offer a rebate or a discount of a subsidy of $1.99 per gallon of gasoline if you bought a Hummer or an SUV. That was their mindset.
That was a great marketing.
That was just a great marketing tactic to buy more gas guzzlers. The point here is there's a great recognition that we in fact have to step up for the automotive industry because we can't. As a nation, if if GM goes under, that's a cost of $175 billion per year through a bankruptcy proceeding to taxpayers alone. So it's more cost effective to step up for them. The issue simply is, how are we going to do it? The Republicans are arguing to take $25 billion from a fund that's reserved to provide fuel-efficient cars. They want to take money away from fuel-efficient development to subsidize the auto industry.
Nevertheless, $25 billion plus another $25 billion to be progressive, $25 billion to bail them out. That's a lot of money, Miguel.
25 and 25 makes 50. And it keeps going on and on and on. And it's one bailout after another. So we're all torn here because we realize, I mean, I'm definitely torn, and I know a lot of people are that I've been talking to. They want to help the auto industry because they know that we can't leave, you know, 2.5 million Americans unemployed.
These are American jobs.
So, you know,
yes.
These are jobs that we need to save. But at the same time, you know, these people have been so, you know, ridiculous in the way they have conducted this business, building these gas guzzlers for years, not seeing the future, hitting them in the face.
Well, you know, it seems to me that $25 billion to build green cars, that should have been done anyway. The incentives to do this.
Now they want to take the money away from building green cars and put it into a subsidy for General Motors. And that is the arrogance and travesty of what they're doing.
John, you're being so patient. Weigh in here.
My family on my father's side is all from Michigan. My uncle worked for General Motors for over 30 years. But I'm not torn because the American people aren't buying American cars because of all of the mistakes that the unions and the companies have made. So now we're going to buy them another way, using taxpayer dollars without demanding the full restructuring of these companies that they demand. The United Auto Workers today announced we're not going to have any concessions as part of the bailout. They already have people, if they're laid off, sit in rooms and drink beer and watch television to get 95% of their salaries for doing nothing. And the companies themselves, of course, are still giving out bonuses to executives. There is excess there. If we're going to give this bailout, why don't we appoint a federal receiver with full authority to restructure the company? But they won't do that. We are simply subsidizing failure and incompetence.
Well, that's not exactly correct. We just heard Congressman Barney Frank talk about very strict standards for restructuring the automotive industry. And this could be a great opportunity to develop fuel-efficient cars and green jobs for the economy.
Well, but the problem is not the transition to the green cars. That will come. The problem are the legacy costs of health care and pensions and everything else. Now, just remember, the last bailout that we're always touted was the big success, the Chrysler bailout. People forget that while they paid the money back, over half the jobs at Chrysler vanished, even with the bailout. These jobs are not coming back. John McCain at least had the courage to say that last year in Michigan. And we have to recognize we can cushion the blow, but we cannot change economic reality.
But we're talking, John, about jobs that are not gone yet. We don't want to let them go.
They're going in the next couple of years.
In this climate, you know, you also have to take into context the economic climate at this point. Maybe these jobs can go away slowly or be phased out.
I'm not prepared to accept the notion these jobs are going away. Obviously, they're going to go away if we continue under the present path. But if we do take them, I still have confidence in American ingenuity.
Robert, there are lots of American automobile jobs. They're in Ohio, they're in Tennessee, they're in Missouri, they're in Alabama, where the costs are not $85 as they are in Detroit.
John, that's the point.
They're $55.
John, that's exactly the point. Obviously, there has to be a renegotiation with the unions and with management.
But they're refusing.
No, actually, the unions have actually stepped up, and every time there's been a major crisis, the unions have stepped up to the table.
Have you heard the UAW president today?
I have indeed.
He says no way, no how.
This is called negotiating. But when you have Rick
with
Wagner,
a Democratic Congress and a Democratic president, I don't think there's going to be much negotiating.
You've got a Republican Congress right now. You've got a Republican president, rather, and a Congress that
So
is
they'll
not
wait till
responsive.
January until they get a better deal.
The point is,
I don't see how the unions can turn anything down at this point because otherwise they're going to be out on the street.
Well,
so
and
they
their
have
history
to
has been stepping up.
Gentlemen, let's take a quick break here. Resume this in a second. We'll be right back with our panel in a moment. Stay with us.
Activon for joint pain, muscle pain, arthritis, and backache. Activon, ultra strength pain relief and a convenient applicator, no messy creams or gels. Activon, applied directly where it hurts for joint pain, muscle pain, arthritis, and backache. Activon, powerful pain relief.
This is the AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan card. You know what's great about this card? Wherever you go, nationwide, your coverage travels with you. And that's just one of the many reasons you need the card you can trust. Because with AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance, you get things like a full range of plans, the ability to apply year-round, personal health insurance advisors to help you make the best decision, and so much more. If you're turning 65 or older, or you've already enrolled in a Medicare supplement plan, call now for this free information kit and Medicare guide to help you navigate today's complex healthcare environment. Learn why these Medicare supplement insurance plans are the choice of millions of Americans and are exclusively endorsed by AARP, an organization that's all about life after 50. AARP Medicare supplement plans, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company, help cover some of your medical expenses not covered by Medicare alone. This could save you thousands of dollars out of your own pocket. Plus, you can choose any doctor or hospital in the U.S. and apply anytime year-round. So call now. Here's what your friends and neighbors are saying about us. What a wonderful service this has been. Thank you for the excellent service provided. I love AARP healthcare options. Look, you want to do away with almost all claim forms? Like the sound of no referrals needed to see a specialist? With this card, you get all that too. Finding the right coverage can be really challenging, especially since Medicare supplement insurance is now more important than ever. That's why the legwork's been done for you. So feel great about making a smart, informed decision. And call to get your free information kit and Medicare guide. Then you'll find out more about a full range of plans, personal health insurance advisors, and coverage that travels nationwide. Yep, this is one great card.
Thanksgiving night, dare to be inspired. Who will be CNN's Hero of the Year? Anderson Cooper hosts CNN Heroes. Thanksgiving night, 9 Eastern and Pacific on CNN. Sponsored by Zurich, because change happens.
We're back with John Fund, Miguel Perez, and Robert Zimmerman. We are debating the auto industry bailout heatedly. Let's take a listen. President-elect Obama says he believes that the auto industry needs assistance. Let's hear what he had to say about it.
For the auto industry to completely collapse would be a disaster in this kind of environment, not just for individual families, but the repercussions across the economy would be dire. So it's my belief that we need to provide assistance to the auto industry. But I think that it can't be a blank check.
Now, if it doesn't get through the lame duck Congress, it'll immediately be taken up by the new administration. Robert, thoughts on this?
Well, clearly, I think what Barack Obama is outlining is an initiative, an idea, a program that I think is getting more and more support. I was talking to Patrick Murphy today, a congressman, a leading member of the Blue Dog Democrats, who are really very fiscal watchdogs, if you will, as Democrats. They're insistent upon any sort of assistance to General Motors and the automotive industry being tied into a restructuring. That's where we're going on this, and that's what I think the result's going to be.
We had Senator Shelby today saying that the senior executives should resign in these companies. Do you think that's constructive?
Well, that would be a start. I mean, this is basically the AIG bailout on wheels. If they get a bailout, do we have any principled way of saying that everyone else doesn't get a bailout? You know, at some point I'm going to say, where's my bailout?
Yeah, well,
of course we have a principled way of saying that. We have to look at the overall impact on our national economy. We have to look at if you're not bailed out, John, I don't think the economy is going to suffer severely. Although your book is a worthwhile read.
No, the shipbuilders are in trouble.
There has to be an evaluation of the overall impact in the economy.
The textile industry is in trouble. We're
talking about 3 million jobs, and we're talking about 600,000 people receiving a pension. There is a national crisis here that we have to address by restructuring our...
Look, the big three sold 10 million vehicles last year. They would still sell those cars if we went bankrupt. It would just be restructuring under a different name without taxpayer dollars.
I don't think they would sell that many cars. I'm not going to buy a car from a company that is bankrupt or file for bankruptcy.
Americans aren't buying cars now.
Some of the cost of bankruptcy. By every estimation, it's at least $175 billion a year for one company. And a bankruptcy goes an average of 3 years. So you're talking about an extraordinary burden on the taxpayer if you pursue that path.
Do you believe the parts? Now, the suppliers and the parts, that's another story, and it's a lot more jobs than the actual
A lot of foreign car companies have subsidiaries in this country that are owned by Americans, in many cases, and hire American workers. This is unfair competition for them. We're going to bail them out, too.
Whatever money we give them, it has to be about accountability and oversight. If the government doesn't look out for our money, they should not give them our money.
But then that sort of accountability, how do you restructure an industry from the outside? Shouldn't you have to restructure it from the inside?
Ultimately, it's going to take, because they've proven they're not responsible enough to restructure their own industry, if we're loaning the money as taxpayers, our government has a right to demand an accountability and a transparency.
Robert, can you give me the name of the last bailout in which Congress really set harsh terms and actually followed through on enforcing them?
That's a rhetorical question.
I'm glad to answer it.
Where is it?